Welcome to Behind the Catch Fence. I'm your host, David Hoffman. Well, it's been a wild start to the season so far for a lot of series. We witnessed the third closest finish in NASCAR history last week in Atlanta. High Limits National Campaign kicked off with Tyler Courtney taking control of the series early on. And in case you guys missed it, Paul Menard, remember that guy, Paul Menard, in the Cup Series? He held off Wally Dallenbach Jr. to win the Trans Am opener. I haven't heard Wally Dallenbach's name since like the NBC days. I never thought those two would, in Trans Am, would be something I'd be saying in the year 2024, but here we are. Well, anyway, even more racing returns next week with IndyCar and NHRA opening their seasons. With that, on today's show, we have NHRA Top Fuel driver Justin Ashley joining. Justin has quickly rose to one of Top Fuel's elite in a short amount of time, and he'll look to score his first championship this year. Today on the show, we discuss his quick rise to the series, his outlook on the season, and the growth of drag racing. Now with that, sit back, relax, grab your favorite snack, maybe some chicken nuggets, because, who doesn't like nugs, especially Chick-fil-A's chicken nuggets? Not sponsored, but those are good. Go enjoy this episode with Justin Ashley. Hey, thanks for taking the time. I know, you got racing coming up here really soon. Obviously, the pro shootout happens. That was exciting. I guess going into it a little bit. What have you been up to this off season? Obviously, a lot of changes for you guys a little bit going over to, to skag racing this year. What have you been up to overall?
It's been busy. Honestly, it's been such a busy off season, but it's been an incredible off season. We had so many changes this off season, but it's the kind of change that brings you to a point of stability. So to be able to be in the position that we're at right now and be able to represent a company like Skag Power Equipment, compete in that Skag Power Equipment Pro Superstar Shootout against some of the best cars in the world, really was a blessing in a lot of ways. So honestly, this whole offseason is just about preparing ourselves to make a run at the championship this year. And I feel like, we have a lot of gratitude, and I think we're in a position to do that.
And obviously, the pro shootout was something different, something new for just drag racing in general. Just from your perspective, how cool is that, number one, and just what were your takeaways from it? Just overall the event, just the racing in general.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think it was something totally different. Going into it, you kind of don't know what you don't know yet because it's such a new platform, such a new entity. But I think everybody from pro, Drag Illustrated, Skag, and everybody in between, all the teams gathered together. And one thing that you can tell is everyone was pulling the rope in the same direction. And I think it was evident with the results. The crowd was packed Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I know that for sure that Saturday was a sellout. And the cool thing is you're up there. Unfortunately, we weren't participating in it, but we were up there for the finals and looking in the stands, the finals on a Saturday night, beautiful night, header flames from the nitro cars, and the stands are absolutely packed. So I would say that was touchdown, a 2-point conversion, a home run, pretty much everything in between. It was a huge success. We haven't gotten a chance or an opportunity to look at the numbers yet, but I think all in all, that event was a tremendous success. I got a lot of feedback from fans about, hey, are we going to do this again? Are we going to do multiple events? Is it going to be an annual thing? I know that we as drivers, as teams, as long as the numbers make sense, we would love to make it an annual thing and do it more often. It's just going to be dependent upon a number of different circumstances. But the clear thing is this. I think that this event was done because we felt like it was in the best interest of drag racing. And I really think it proved to be, and it's not us against NHRA. We're Team NHRA. We want NHRA to be extremely successful. I'm a huge NHRA fan, but I think this is something that could be helpful and good for everybody.
Kind of going back to the off season, going to skag racing this year, just how do you feel a move like that can maybe help propel your team to get that one step closer to snagging a championship in Top Fuel?
Well, I think it helps us in a few different ways, right? First and foremost, it gives us the resources that we need to be successful, but it also gives us stability. Stability in this sport is so important. It really could be the most important thing. You see the teams that are together for the longest amount of time generally have the most success because this is not an individual sport. It's a team sport. And now having the support that we have from Skag Power Equipment, from everybody from Metalcraft of Mayville, really gives us the ability to go out there and have peace of mind and compete at the highest level. So, we've had a lot of support in the past and we'll continue to have support from great companies, from Phillips Connect to Toyota to Kato to Mac Tools to Lucas Oil to everybody in between. And now to be able to move forward with those as associate sponsors, but be welcomed into the Skag Power Equipment family, it really means a lot to us. And I really do think it's going to help us take that next step. And we hope and we feel like we're going to put ourselves in a position where we're competing for a championship come that final Sunday in Pomona at the end of the year.
And I think I found kind of interesting just your career trajectory has been pretty darn stout when you look at it. I mean, starting off, 2020 and then going into 21, 22, just kind of continuing just to build and build over those couple years. Just how would you describe just that quick trajectory and just for you to, I guess, not only hop into the car and be quick very quickly, just and to just be able to automatically become a championship contender within those couple years, so soon.
Yeah, I think it's because of the people. I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by good people, and the answer might sound cliche, but it's the truth. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and everybody from Mike Green to Tommy Lago to Dustin Davis to my father to Randy Glady and everybody in between. It's just I've been fortunate, really fortunate to be surrounded by the right people, and it's kind of helped that trajectory. We've had a lot of success since really the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, since we entered the sport, but it's been difficult. Throughout that success, there's been a lot of ups, downs, and plenty of time somewhere in between. But we've learned from it, and we had the right people in place, the right culture. I think it started with Dustin Davis early on, implementing the right culture and bringing in the right personnel and the right people. And because of that, I think that we have a championship winning team on and off the racetrack, and we have a full, healthy understanding of how good the competition truly is. We expect to win each and every weekend, but we're realistic about it. These are the best teams, the best cars in the world. So we understand that and we get that. And we also know that without winning off the racetrack with companies like Skag Power Equipment and making sure that their dealers and their distributors come first and get a first class experience, there is no opportunity to win on the racetrack. So working backwards from that, I think it's helped us to achieve a lot of success.
And you mentioned kind of building the team, building the right, bringing in the right people. Just how difficult is that? Because I know I've heard a lot of times where, especially in NHRA, obviously any other motorsport as well, but it seems like with NHRA, as soon as you find those people, find the right, sponsors, everything else, that it just, guns a-blazing essentially. Just how would you just describe just what all goes into finding the right people and making sure everything clicks?
It's a journey. It's a journey and it takes time, and you have to find people that are the right match, right? And people that share the same visions, the same goals, and have the same views on life, on racing, on culture, and all that stuff. And I think for us, it's family first, it's people first, and it takes some time to really find the right people. I think really our turning point, to be transparent with you, is when we were able to start working with Mike Green, and then bringing in Tom DeLago. Those two crew chiefs have a tremendous amount of winning experience, both on and off the racetrack. We fit together like a glove. And it just worked out really well. Mike came in and turned around our whole program. I think that we were in a really good position and we laid a good foundation for ourselves moving forward. But he knows how to win championships. And he came, the right people, the right parts. We all love working for Mike. We all love working with Mike. And for me personally, I've learned so much from him and Tommy, and I continue. My goal is just to be a sponge to learn each race, each event, each test session, each opportunity to soak in more knowledge because he's worked with some of the best drivers, some of the best teams in the world. So I think that was a huge turning point for us. Then we developed some relationships with companies like Phillips Connect and Toyota that really helped take our program to the next level, and their investment in the sport as a whole really has been second to none. And their commitment to our team really goes a long way with us. So we're really grateful for them. And that all led us to the point we're at now, where we're continuing our relationship with those sponsors. But I cannot say enough, honestly, enough good things from the bottom of my heart for everyone at Skag Power Equipment. I mean, they are, when I say they're invested in NHRA, they are invested in the sport more than probably any other company I've ever seen before. So they are fully invested in NHRA. They are fully invested in the team, and they have the right goals, the right mindset. It's people first, and they are giving us what we need to be successful without applying that pressure. It's you guys know what you're doing. You go take care of your business, and we'll take care of ours. And if we're doing things correctly, we should be able to have a lot of success on and off the racetrack.
Now, looking a little bit back to last year, obviously you had a really career year, won six times in the countdown, led the championship for a good bit of races. Just, And what positives do you feel that you can take away from that season in particular?
Yeah, I think experience. We won a lot of races in the regular season. Unfortunately, we didn't finish the way that we expected to or the way that we wanted to. But there were a few things that happened during the countdown last year, really both in 2022 and 2023, that we were able to take. And I think we'll be able to apply in 2024 moving forward, whether it's parts and pieces or really anything in between. So I think we learned how to win, right? I think you got to sometimes learn what it looks like to lose before you can learn how to win. And we went through that process, and I think we have an understanding of what it takes to win. And I know that we have a championship team and the right people and the right personnel in place to do that. So also in addition to that, the more you win, the more laps you make, the more data and information that you get. So we made so many laps last year because we were fortunate to turn on so many win lights. The ball bounced our way more times than not. So we're able to learn a lot from that experience, and I think we'll apply that now moving forward.
I tend to get a wide variety of answers with this next question. Just you hear the term wired differently when it comes to race car drivers, and yeah, from Tony Schumacher to just the different people. They have so many different answers. I know what he said was something like, maybe you're not going to have the smartest person in the room when it comes to drivers, and say just like we're a little crazy, that kind of thing. Just
Yeah.
from your perspective, how would what would you say wire differently means to you?
That's a good question. To me, so wired differently means, to me at least, focused, being laser focused on my job. So some drivers are more astute on the mechanical side of things. Some drivers are strictly drivers. Some drivers are more astute on the sponsorship and the business side, or somewhere in between. So for me, it means being laser focused really on two things, on being the best driver that I can be and being the best spokesman, representative, and businessman for SCAG and the entire organization that I could be. So really where my attention and focus is on the driving side and being so laser focused on that, and then helping SCAG, working with our partners, our sponsors to be able to really build the program from the business side to where we want it to be, where we have sustainable success for a long time. So I think for me, that's really what wired differently probably means.
And you kind of mentioned this with being on the business side, and I know you've been the more vocal people, more vocal just drivers in general that really, I guess, understands the business side of things. And obviously it's helped you a lot throughout your career. Just let's hypothetical here. Just let's say we put you in charge of drag racing, NHRA, whatever it may be. What
Uh-oh.
would you love to make? What would you like to make happen in drag racing if you're in charge?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I'll preface it by saying that, look, no organization is perfect, right? It's difficult. You can't make everyone happy. And I think NHRA does an amazing job in so many areas. I think they do an incredible job. But of course, there's ways to improve, ways to get better. And one of I have a few different ideas, but one of the things I think is important is, and we're fortunate to have a major deal with Fox. I think that's a big deal. But television and streaming right now are huge, and we need to find a way collectively to get ourselves more into the mainstream media. For example, you have guys like Street Outlaws. I respect those guys. I have a lot of respect for those guys, but I mean, look, let's be honest. Our cars are the fastest accelerating cars on the planet. We're going 330 miles per hour, but somehow, some way, sometimes those guys and that organization is much more recognizable to the general public than we are simply because of television. So I think if we find a way to get ourselves more into mainstream media, whether that means more racing on Fox itself, Fox Broadcast Network, or exploring different platforms or different opportunities, I think finding a way to get into mainstream media can be a way to really take our sport to the next level.
Very great answer. Just, final question for me. Just what do you feel the difference will be for you going into this year and for your team and going in through these next few months as you get rolling and get through, going through different events that maybe might be the difference maker and you guys winning the championship and finally getting over that hump, which you guys have been so close the past couple of years.
I think experience, right, is the first thing. We have the experience with the same people, the same personnel in place. That's first. But second, I think we have an extended ability to do something we never really did before, which is test. We never really had the ability to test certain things and try different things, at least not as much as we're going to be able to do now. And I think that's really important. I think that when you're able to test like that, you're able to learn a lot before you actually go into the races themselves. So I think just our ability in lining up and mapping out an adequate testing schedule, is really going to help our team in more ways than one this year.
Well, Justin, I appreciate you taking the time. Good luck the whole year. Obviously, you got a lot coming up here soon, and hopefully you have a lot of win lights your way.
I hope so, man. I appreciate it anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode with Justin Ashley. As we've seen with pretty much all forms of motorsports here recently, the last couple of years, everything is just on the rise. I do find it interesting just how drag racing fits into that equation as well. Obviously, it's a little more difficult with the race format just because it's so short with every round, but for instance, the Pro Shootout that happened earlier this month, or actually back in February, it's March 1st now. It was just a brilliant way just to have a new spin on the sport and give drag racing a fun and exciting little jolt. And I feel like everyone that competed in it just really enjoyed it. And one final thought from our interview. I really think Justin Ashley's time as a champion is coming here pretty soon. He's been in position these last few seasons, but support from Skag Racing this year may be that tipping point or the tipping of the iceberg just for Ashley and his team to really shine. And we'll have to find out as the Gator Nationals get rolling here on March 7th, so only 6 days away for that to start. So thanks again for watching today's episode. Make sure to catch up on all our latest shows, which include special guests Joey Logano, Tony Schumacher, Donnie Schatz, and many, many more. You can follow this podcast on X and Instagram at Behind Catch, and be sure to like and subscribe. We have a lot of good stuff coming your way, so you don't want to miss any of it. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys later.